Alright, YouTube and Bethesda communities. So here recently I started playing some Elder Scrolls Online again. I haven't touched the game in quite some time actually. It's been several months. And it's pretty, it's fun to get back into it. I've always enjoyed the game. I don't know why. I always play games that I really, really like, and I stop playing them for so long, and I get back into it. It's just weird. I go through phases, I guess. But anyways, I was playing the game, having fun and things, and then I started realizing how big the map was on the game, and how big each area was, and it got me thinking, like, okay, originally when this game was made, it was clearly a PC game. I mean, it's an MMO. That's how most MMOs start out or whatever. It's an MMORPG on PC, and then they eventually brought about a little over a year after the game came out, they put it onto consoles. And I got thinking, like, this map's super, super huge. Like, it's crazy how big the map is. And I was wondering, like, why can't we get, like, a Fallout game like that, or even, like, a standalone Elder Scrolls? This is obviously an Elder Scrolls game, but why not get, like, Elder Scrolls 6 have a map this size? Each of these areas in this game are roughly the same size like a Fallout map. Maybe not Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is bigger than 3 and probably New Vegas. And it was size-wise, it was smaller than Skyrim. Like it was more dense and bigger than Skyrim because it was more dense. But it was smaller all around than Skyrim was. But each of these maps are probably roughly the size of Fallout 4, if not maybe Fallout 3 or New Vegas. And what I was thinking was, like, if they can fit all these different areas, it's not one solid area like a Fallout game is, but they can fit all these areas into one, Xbox One disc or a PS4 disc. Why can't we get a Fallout game that's a lot bigger? Because, like I said, okay, clearly Fallout 4 is a huge map because of the density of it. There's so much to each area. And with Elder Scrolls Online, you don't get that. The maps are huge, like the areas are huge. The place I'm in right now is called Shadowfen. The area is huge, but like you're not walking around, going through a bunch of 2, 3, 4-story buildings that have a bunch of loot you can do, and like you can get out of like bookshelves and refrigerators and all that shit. They do have chests and things. You can find potions on the ground. You can loot enemies like you can in Fallout and everything. But it's not, the world's not dense in that way. The world's huge as fuck, but it's not that dense. So what I was thinking is, like, why can't we get a Fallout game that's like bigger than what we've been getting for one? It doesn't have to be the size of ESO because it's an MMO. That's why it's so fucking huge. But they could like give us a game that's a third of the size, a fourth of the size. Make the map roughly a fourth. Like combine whatever the size of multiple maps from ESO would be, and make that a Fallout game, but make it more dense. That's why, because if you're shooting for a Fallout game with the size of ESO, then you can't make it as dense because that's just going to be too much. It's going to have too much shit to try to put into the world, and that's probably why they haven't made a Fallout that big. But if they can fit this many maps, and I mean ESO on console, it can have up to like 10,000 players and shit. Like if you can fit all that onto one disc and things, like why can't we get a Fallout game that's about that big? Now we know they started working on Fallout 4 right after Fallout 3, so they were doing it on the last generation consoles. And then once Xbox One and PS4 came out, they decided, hey, let's go forward with that and just make it for those platforms. That way we can make the world bigger and better. So maybe that's why Fallout 4 suffers in size. Plus, we know that Fallout 4 is like, the map's technically cut by like a third because the fucking ocean is nothing. Like, it's just there taking up most of the map, and it doesn't do anything. So, and they could very well be working on Fallout 5 or Elder Scrolls 6 right now, and it's going to be huge, like, in comparison to ESO or something. It's going to have that kind of size map on it. Maybe they are doing that. Who knows? So really quick, I want to show these two map comparisons. They're the exact same thing, just in different locations. But obviously the smaller map is Fallout 3, the second bigger map is Fallout 4, and the biggest is Skyrim. And this is just kind of give you an idea of the map sizes. Yes, Fallout 4 is smaller than Skyrim, but we all know it's bigger just because of the density of it. Kind of cool little map comparison. I was looking for a Fallout 4 versus Elder Scrolls Online. I don't know how they'd group all the little areas together to make it into one map, but I was looking for that, couldn't find it. Maybe one of you guys can link me to it or something. I think it'd be kind of cool to look at. So hopefully with the next Elder Scrolls or Fallout standalone game, we'll get a much bigger map than Fallout 4. What I really want from either of those titles is I just don't want wasted map space like we have with Fallout 4 with the water. Like, we were all kind of looking underwater, hoping for some kind of cool location or Easter eggs, and nothing ever happened. We were wanting some kind of water-based DLC, nothing ever happened. So I just don't want wasted map space. Hopefully the next Fallout Elder Scrolls has a much bigger map. Really quick at the end, I want to show you the size of the Elder Scrolls Online map, and that'll be the end of the video. Later, guys. A quick little just map size thing for ESO. And right now I'm just in a random cave thing, but I'm gonna show you the map. We're gonna zoom out a little bit. So this is the one area I'm in. This is Shadowfen. It's a pretty cool area. Anyways, this is the size of the map. So clearly it's decent. Like, I'm down here in this little bitty corner in this cave. But, you know, I can walk this whole thing pretty much. But we're going to zoom out even more. That's just Shadowfen. Then there's these other areas right here I've been to. Stone Falls, and I don't know how to pronounce that one. But then there's all these areas too. These are all decent sized maps. I'll zoom in on this one randomly. This is just a whole nother map right here. So this is kind of my point with the whole video, is that there's just so much to the ESO on the size of the map, dude. It's crazy as hell. There's all this over here, all these. Some of these look small, but they're probably decent size once you get to them. And I zoomed out even more right before I made the video, and like there's this whole, like this is Tamriel right here, obviously. But there's a little bit of island over here, the Cold Harbor. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's DLC stuff. No fucking idea. But there's even this area, which is probably the size of like a Fallout map, damn near. But anyways, this is kind of my point. I just wanted to show you guys that.